Hello, this is John Ramsey, and this is my big comeback. I have a wonderful guest with me today, Superintendent of Bay District Schools, Mark McQueen. Mark, it's great to have you today.
Thanks,
Thanks
John.
for coming in and talking with us. You've got a great career. You've had a few hats on through your life, and I want you to talk to me about that just a minute. What was it like? You were a two-star general, correct? Major general. Tell us about your military. How did you get into that? Are you from a military family, or?
Well, I am from a military family. Thanks so much, John. I appreciate you and allowing me an opportunity to join you today. And my dad was an Army aviator. He was infantry originally, and then he became an aviator. Flew UH-1s, Huey aircraft. 2 deployments to Vietnam. He was wounded on his first deployment. And for me, growing up in the '60s, when he was deployed to Vietnam, you would watch the news a lot. You would watch Huntley Brinkley Report or the Walter Cronkite. And, the first thing that would happen was you would get the casualty count for the day. And, as a young kid whose dad was deployed there in Vietnam, that was something that became very real to me. But anyway, he continued to serve even after he was wounded and retired after 30 years. And basically, the year he retired is the year I went into an Army ROTC program at Auburn University.
Auburn University.
Absolutely.
That's
and
great.
I was on a 3-year scholarship and was commissioned. And, when they commissioned me, they said, "Hey, congratulations, McQueen, you're the distinguished military graduate." And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" And they said, "Well, it means you get a regular Army commission." And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" And they said, "Well, that means you get to stay in the Army for 30 years. I said, 30 years? There's no way. I'm forward out the door. But never say never. God had a plan and led my journey. And 36 years later, I retired. So I had a total of 39 years in the military.
That's a long run.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
My dad went to Vietnam, also Korea and Vietnam.
Oh, really?
So, there's a lot of, and I find our community's full of military people.
It's unbelievable. We have a lot of, still have World War II vets. Right here in our community.
That's right.
We've got a good friend. He's going to be turning 100 this year, and he was a private on day 3 of Iwo Jima, and so as a Marine. So, we've got heroes walk amongst us each and every day, and we're blessed because of that.
What was your most exciting deployment or base, or where you did? What years was you? You was in all of the years. So you saw both the Desert Storm theaters and all, and Afghanistan also.
Yeah, so the Cold War and Bosnia was my first deployment, and then went to Afghanistan and Iraq, and then a lot of other exotic places in between.
Wow, you've been all over the world with,
it was
with the
great.
military.
It was great. I was in the civil affairs community. It was part of Army Special Operations then, and you get to deploy a lot, and you work with indigenous populations of those communities and countries, and a lot of humanitarian assistance operations, nation building, getting people off battlefields, those types of things. So,
You've seen it all. I mean, 39 years, you've seen it all. You were all the places.
I was just a slow learner.
It
Took me a while.
That's great. So you get out of the service, and how long? What was the space between when you were city manager and when you were? Did you go from one to the other?
So actually,
did you take a breather?
No. In 2018, I knew I was going to be retiring in October, and in January, Greg Brudnicki reached out to me. He was the mayor of Panama City, and asked me to think about applying to become the city manager. So I kind of thought about it, didn't give a whole lot of thought to it, actually. And
were you already living in Bay County?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. And in March, he calls me back and says, "Hey, I've noticed your application's not in." And I said, "Well, all right." So I put my application in, and then in May, they whittled down, I guess, about 100 applicants down to 3, and they interviewed 1, and that was me.
That's fantastic.
And I said, "Well, I'll take the job, but I'll be glad to serve this community. But I'm donating a kidney, so I donated a kidney. I need to recover from that. I needed to change command from the unit I was
just donating a kidney.
That's a God thing too. And then so I knew I had to change command and retire from the Army. I said, if you can wait until the 1st of October, I'll come and join as the city manager. They said, "We'll wait for you." So I started on the 24th of September, and 2 weeks later, 2.5 weeks later, we had Hurricane Michael. And,
wow, what a way to start! What a way to start a job.
So I was in that position for 6 years and resigned and thought I would just stay home and be a granddad and enjoy a, quote, retired life. But God had a different plan. And
Mark, I can't blow by this kidney thing. I mean, tell me about that. I didn't know you donated a kidney.
yeah, so I actually was the greeter at First Baptist Church downtown, and this gentleman walked by that I knew of. I knew who he was. His name is Ron Putman, and he looked about as white as your cup right there, and didn't have a lot of sparkle in his eye. And then 2 minutes later, his wife walks by, and her name is Anita. And I said, "Hey, Anita, is Ron okay?" She says, "No, not too good. He has one kidney, and the one kidney he has is rapidly dying." I said, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah." She said that he's 69 and 70 is the cutoff for the donor list. And so he's going to have a tough time trying to find one. And what makes it really hard is he's got a rare blood type. And I said, "Well, what's his blood type?" She said, A negative. I said, "Well, Anita, I'm A negative. Let's go take a look at this." So sure enough, we start their journey through UAB Medical Center. And about 2.5 months later, we found out on their anniversary that we were a perfect match.
That's amazing.
A perfect match.
That's amazing.
And 6 weeks later, we had the surgery on the 17th of July. And
wow.
He is doing great. He's amazing.
And what's your family think about that? And you go home and tell them, "Hey, I've decided to give a kidney." I mean,
it was a God thing. God just orchestrated all that, and just did it because it was the right thing to do.
Wow.
Yeah. And Ron's amazing. It's now 7 years, and
wow.
He's
that's
still
an amazing
alive.
story.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And
so, what did you find different going from the military and your leadership and running, what you were running there to running the city?
Well, the similarity was the fact that I felt like I was on another deployment, because the whole city had been torn up from Hurricane Michael.
It looked like a war zone. It did.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was absolutely terrible. And, the one blessing out of it was that we had no direct deaths as a result of that storm in Panama City. Although there were
I
others.
think the death toll was like 62 or 64. But most of that
was north from
from
us. Yep.
Mexico Beach and all that,
And
north.
And north. That's right.
North,
and so, so that was a good thing. And it gave us an opportunity to really reimagine how the city of Panama City could be. And certainly you see today a lot of that initial planning, all of the work, the streetscapes being done, the Martin Theater being redone, what we have going on in Glenwood with Martin Luther King Rec Center, and just to name a few, and all the infrastructure being redone. I think it's about $400 million worth of water and sewer lines and new streets being done for the city.
And it needed it. It needed it. I mean, it was just deteriorating. Needed it. So, but I mean, much smaller scale than what you were doing in the military, the city?
Yeah, but no less significant.
Absolutely.
You're impacting lives, and you want to have nothing but the best for your community. So but it was again. I'm just going to tell you, I'm a big believer that God's ordered my steps, and He put me in that position for a time such as that, and there I was.
What was your biggest challenge when you were at the city?
I think really it was having the citizens believe that they could come back from that tragedy. It was helping the citizens to believe that Panama City could be the premier city in the Panhandle of Florida, and there was no reason it couldn't be.
I tell people all the time, Panama City, Bay County will always be marked as before the storm and after the storm. It was a life changer.
It was.
It was for churches, for homes, businesses, everybody. Still ride around and think I'm going to a landmark and the landmark's not there anymore. So I'm kind of thinking, where am I? There was a time you were driving around almost lost, like this doesn't look like the city I've grown up in and all.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But, some of the most amazing people you'll ever meet are right here in Panama City. And I could have been more proud to have served the city and the citizens and helped to reinvent and reimagine how the city could be. And I think we did some great things. It was very different from being in the military, because in the military you have a lot of resources available to you. Literally this community picked itself up by its bootstraps, and we can talk a lot about recovering, but this community recovered itself, and very, very proud of them.
We're using a grant to rebuild our church over in Lynn Haven. The bureaucracy, it's been a difficult thing. I mean,
A FEMA program.
a FEMA program, it's a hard thing. And I think, when I look at some of the people, like we don't have a staff of grant writers. We don't have just our little tiny church staff and volunteer help with a lot of it. Even though we're a large preschool, we have one of the largest preschools in Panama City. We don't have a huge office staff. And, taking that on was overwhelming. And I saw where a lot of people, and, FEMA told me like 84 churches was destroyed in Hurricane Michael. And I think a lot of them just didn't have the heart to go through the process because it beats you down. I mean, just over and over the paperwork. And I think we're on we're not done with our project yet. I think we're on our 10th or 11th project manager, and it seemed like every time one of those changed, it was like you had to start from scratch teaching them where you were with the project.
PDMGs were
it was awful. It was awful.
Yeah, it is terrible. And I think what you hit on is exactly right. Probably the big hit, the enduring hit to this community is the lack of churches as a result of it, because it is untenable for a small church to be able to have the technical expertise that's necessary to navigate the FEMA recovery requirements. It is very difficult and very extremely time consuming.
It is.
And to your point, there's always a revolving door of FEMA personnel, which means that nothing moves forward. It just seems like it's in an abyss.
It was a hardship for us, and I don't know that I would ever want to try it again. I mean, I don't think we could have rebuilt without it. And I know with the city it's the same thing. There's a lot of stuff you just wouldn't have anymore if it wasn't for those funds. But I'm hoping that something will get better in there, and not for us. I mean, we've had our storm, but the thing is, I look at, like when I saw the hurricane hit South Florida a couple of years ago, they said, well, FEMA's already there, and I'm thinking, well, I wish it would call me. I'll tell you how that's going to work, because it's going to be years, years before you see any of that money, and years. And the problem is with a lot of these small businesses is staying alive till you see that, treading water till that money comes in, because it's not easy. It's a long, not a few month process, a few years and years process. So you change hats. You come out of the city, and you started as superintendent of Bay District Schools. How long has that been?
2 years.
2 years. Yeah. So it's still pretty new.
Still new. Yeah.
What kind of personnel is Bay District Schools now? How many employees is it altogether?
We have about 3,600 employees.
3,600.
Teachers, support staff, maintenance, bus drivers, mechanics. All of everything you need. Administrators, everybody you need. Make it run.
What's the difference in size from the city to the Bay District?
City had about 500 employees.
Yeah. So bigger?
Much bigger.
What kind
it's
of
the
budget?
largest employer in Bay County.
What kind of budget is Bay District now?
We have Bay District Schools. This year, it's going to be a $640 million budget.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
and 86% of that goes to payroll. When you start talking,
absolutely.
We're a service industry.
Yes.
Right, in terms of that. 10% of the budget goes to operational costs. You have 4% that goes to administration.
Wow.
And then the rest of it is going right into the schools and the classrooms to keep them going.
Did I hear a figure that after the hurricane that Bay District lost about 30% of students or 20%? What was the number?
Yeah, so they lost about 20% of the students, which was consistent for the entire region of Bay County. I mean, that's but we're back up to where we had as pre.
So we're back to the numbers we had before the
7 years later.
I know, with our preschool, we have the VPK, the volunteer, and I know that a lot of what we've seen. We have a lot of military families. We have a lot of military families live in Lynn Haven, in the area of our church, and we find that I know that you all are doing a little more on your VPK and the 4-year-old stuff. And that's a little bit of a difficulty with us, because part of what people don't understand about childcare is, like with the infants, the teacher ratio is 1 to 4.
That's right.
So we don't make any money off of that. And what comes difficult is the need of childcare is great in our community. But if we lose too much of that 3 and 4-year-olds, that's how we fund it. So if we were left just with the infants, most private child care centers would go out of business. And so we know the need is great. We know that you all are helping with some of that need with all, but there's got to be a balance there with all of that, and it's difficult.
Yeah. The area, even though it's not space that I'm responsible for as a superintendent, is the area of prenatal all the way through age 5.
Yeah.
That is the most important age, is 80% of brain development.
And that's all we do. All we do is the prenatal through the 5-year-olds. And it's a balance, I know, for everybody. But I think everyone's trying to do the same thing and make sure everyone in the community has what they need.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we stayed open during COVID even because we had doctors and nurses that needed child care and all that. And it's a tough thing because it's not a real high paying thing for, like, as far as our teachers. They don't make a lot of money. And I think teachers in general, all teachers, middle school, high school, they don't get what they deserve because they've got the most important job out of anybody. And sometimes they're thought about the least, you know. And in a perfect world, you know, the sports star would make less and the teacher would make more. But that's not how things work.
We all are where we are because a teacher helped us get there.
Helped us get there. That's right. Exactly. We're going to talk some more about it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Are you ready to connect your organization with an audience that is eager for inspiration? The My Big Comeback podcast, hosted by John R. Ramsey, shares powerful stories of resilience and redemption, featuring guests who have turned life setbacks into major comebacks. New episodes drop the 1st and 15th of every month. For those interested in being a part of this community, sponsorship opportunities are now available. To learn more, contact Meredith Cobb at meredithcobbhwc@gmail.com. Let's make a big comeback together.
Hey, I'm here with Mark McQueen from Bay District Schools, and we were talking a little bit about VPK and what it means to have school readiness. I know one of our guests coming next week is Susan Gage from ELC, but it's a really important thing for them to be ready for school.
Yeah, Susan does a phenomenal job. The Early Learning Coalition is amazing, and we're in partnership with them. But to your point earlier, it's a very difficult space. That 0 to 5 space of a child is, like we said, is 80% of brain development takes place there.
Yeah,
it's where they learn speech. That's where they learn behaviors,
socialization,
and potty training, all of those things, which most people take for granted. But I'm telling you, we're seeing kids coming to kindergarten not ready. They're not potty trained. They don't know their numbers, their letters, their colors, and they have severe behavioral actions on their part. And so we really have to pour into that space. And I'm really glad, you know, for churches that have all these VPK programs, because the district can't do it all. We can't. It takes all of us to do this. And yet there are still many, many more students, children in our community that are not getting that level of preparedness for school.
I'm shocked at the people that don't know that VPK is free.
Yeah.
You know, we tell them, I said, if you have a 4-year-old, you could send them there. It doesn't cost anything.
That's right.
And they said, well, that's they think it's just the school program. I said, it's all the VPK programs.
That's right.
Churches, public school, wherever. Send them. Make sure they go, because they're not going to be ready for kindergarten if they don't.
That's right. That's exactly right. And you know, it's no better way to do a child care for children than VPK for at least half a day. And it's a great program. And I think that partnering with Early Learning Coalition, Child Find, the program that is identifying children as early as age 3 that have that are not developmentally where they're supposed to be, and as a result, they get referred through physicians or nurse practitioners into the district, and we take all of those in VPK.
And you know, we find identifying stuff like autism, stuff like that. There's a lot of programs that can help them. If they get identified to need that help, and deal with it, and have it in hand where you know what that child's needs are, so they can get that help even before they start school.
That's right, and to come along those parents, because they're really struggling in that space. They are. And God bless them. They're really trying their best, and we want to help them. And you know, the churches want to come alongside, and other private VPKs that are out there operating. And so we've got to pour into the community. And if we want to change the future of Bay County, that 0 to 5 space, actually prenatal, is the space that we need to be operating in as a community to come alongside these parents so that we can help these children be ready for the future.
Absolutely. What is the biggest challenge for Bay District Schools right now? What facilities? I know done away with some that were too badly damaged after the storm. Anything on the runway to be built that we're looking at?
Well, there are two that we're working right now. Certainly, we're doing a lot of remodeling in all of the existing schools, but the big immediate build that we have is for Margaret K. Lewis. It's for our most profound mentally and physically disabled students. They're currently located over in Millville at the old Millville Elementary School. And we're going to be building a new school for them over in Oakland Terrace, next to Oakland Terrace Park.
Oh, great.
Where the old St. Andrews School
What's the timeline on that?
We're hoping to break ground next summer.
Great.
Yep. And
Great.
so it'll take about a year and a half, maybe 2 years to build. So by 27, we should be ready to go.
Will it be K through 5?
It's actually goes till 21 years of age.
Okay.
Because it's the most physically disabled.
Yeah, so
students.
all the ages. Yeah.
And so we have everybody. And then the second build that we have that's on the horizon is working with Tyndall on rebuilding a school for our Tyndall families.
Yeah.
We have Tyndall Academy, which is a perennial A school. 23 of the last 25 years,
Yes.
it's been an A school. We need to support our military. Certainly, they're the
Y'all are
largest
already under
footprint.
construction on something there, aren't you? Or no? No? Okay, I thought that it started. I misunderstood that. Yeah, so, but that's going to start when?
As soon as we can settle on a site, and we're working with the Air Force on that. We're having to go through a lot of the environmental reviews.
I'm sure there's a whole nother layer of bureaucracy there.
It's pretty intense, but we're very fortunate that Colonel Bergthold as the commander of the 325th, he's very supportive. He wants to.
They
find
need
ways.
it. They need it.
And he realizes they need it for their airmen. That correlates to Air Force readiness.
Yes.
If they can have good, strong schools for their families and aftercare facilities for their families, that's what builds up readiness.
Got to have it.
Got to have it.
I
Absolutely.
mean, nobody's leaving their children. They don't. They've got to know they're taken care
That's right.
of. So, as far as high schools, middle schools, anything else there coming?
Oh, well, we're the next project that we have is over at Rutherford. It's a full facelift on Rutherford High School.
And Rutherford's still doing middle and high school.
It is.
Yeah.
That's correct. And then and they have the International Baccalaureate program as well as we have career and technical education opportunities there. We're having the construction management course as well as some of the other things like welding. So
Stuff like that's so needed.
It's
so needed.
I'm telling you, we see it that about 70% of the students that graduate don't go off to college or universities. Only 30% do. So the other 70 are going to do something. They're going to go in the military. They may go on to careers on their own, or they may go and work for somebody in a technical career field.
I heard a term I'd never heard the other day. Someone said a purple collar worker. I said, what is that? They said, not everything is a white collar or blue collar. Said there's some hands-on trades that they're hands-on, but they require some knowledge too. And when you talk about stuff like aviation mechanics, medical device, fixing that kind of stuff, you need some education, and you need to be prepared to work with your hands too.
That's right.
And I think we miss a lot of that. Some that everybody's not everybody doesn't need to be a doctor. We need doctors. We need attorneys, but everyone cannot be that one thing.
No.
We need everything.
Well, we're very lucky here in Bay County. We have Haney Technical College. Haney just was recognized as one of the top 2% technical colleges in the entire United States. There are 15,000 technical colleges, and they were in the top 250 in the entire country. So we're very proud of Angela Reese and what her team are doing.
That's fantastic.
So it's really impressive.
That's fantastic. And they have the aviation mechanics there, right?
The A&P program is there. That's right.
One of their big things. And they do some construction training also, don't they?
They do, and they do the marine. They do cosmetology. We do nursing as well. So we have a whole plethora of opportunities, career opportunities right there at Haney.
And how about Bay District with FSU and Gulf Coast? That doesn't fall under your department, does it, or does it?
Well, there is no daylight between
No daylight.
Bay District Schools, Gulf Coast State College, and what we're doing at Florida State University.
Yeah.
There's no daylight. Now, Haney is part underneath Bay District Schools, but what we try to do is ensure that there's a seamless transition from Bay District Schools, Haney, through Gulf Coast to Florida State University. Wherever you are on that pathway for whatever your career field is, it may require just a technical certificate.
Yeah.
It may require a doctorate degree like the nurse anesthetist program that they have at FSU. Anywhere in between all of that is available right here in Bay County.
That's fantastic.
And what better way to get a career option going at a fraction of the cost of moving off?
Absolutely. And I just like the idea of them being able to stay home if they want that, which I want that. I like that. We're thankful for everything we have in our community, because it gives kids the option. You don't have to go away. You can be right here in Bay County.
Right. Well, you think about it, 18 years of growing a young person. We as a community, as a family, we have submitted 18 years of investment into these just to have them go off. Let's have them stay here. And President McDonald, the president of Gulf Coast State College, says all the time that if they get their credential locally, it's a 70% chance that they will stay local when they finish up that credential, whatever it is. Why not? We've invested 18 years in them. Why not just keep them here and let them build the future of this great community?
Well, that's why I'm thrilled to see some of the new jobs that they're putting out by the airport and stuff. And so, I mean, it gives people the opportunity not just be here and exist, but thrive, have a good job.
That's right.
And so if they can get their education here, they can find a good job when they get their education and stay right here and build Bay County, because we need it.
Yeah, you're right. When you think about what the Bay Economic Development Alliance, Becca Hardin and her team are doing to attract all these businesses to come here.
It's wonderful.
We're on the international and domestic maps right now, and just recently 750 new jobs created by 3 different companies. And that's amazing. And then what you have going on in the medical side of the house with
the new hospital with
FSU
hospital
being built,
that's fantastic.
It's amazing. Advanced manufacturing that's taking place in our community. These are all great career fields. Look at what's taking place over at Eastern Shipbuilding and what they're doing with the new
Big
contract
stuff.
with the Navy. I mean, this is great opportunities for folks to have great careers and take care of families.
And sure, it changed from, we moved here in 1980 with the Air Force, and I was just starting Everett Middle School, and it was back in the days when the beach closed down during the winter time.
That's right.
And when I say that to my kids, they said, "What do you mean close down? How do you close down the beach?" I said, "Every business out there locked their door for 3 months." And they said, "How is that possible?" I said, "It's just the way it was. It was just, I can't explain why it was that way, but it was that way."
It was cheaper to close the doors and keep them open because there were no customers, right?
We became a year-round destination, and I think all of these things are a part. The education, the jobs, all of it's a part of making the community thrive, and I think that's a great deal. So we're going to take a break just a moment, and we'll come back. I'm going to talk to you about some of your personal side. We'll be right back.
Great, thanks.
Heroes Child is a nonprofit organization that is on a mission to help community heroes with the everyday cost of childcare. We know that heroes like our military personnel, first responders, and foster families need care for their children. Heroes Child awards these families scholarships that go to help pay their childcare tuition. Use the QR code on the screen to donate now or visit heroeschild.org today.
Hey, I'm back here with Superintendent Mark McQueen, and we've talked about the military a little bit. We've talked about the city. We've talked about Bay District schools. But let me talk to, Mark, the person. So, all of these things have been challenging careers you've been in. What really inspires you? Give me a person that was a big inspiration to you, someone you've met in life that really challenged you to do more, or maybe even helped you through something.
Yeah, so, we talked about it earlier. We are where we are because of teachers, right? And, as a student and growing up, as I shared earlier, my dad was in the Army, and so I went to 10 different schools in 12 years. And so, it's, 4 different high schools. And so I moved around a lot. And, in that experience, I still remember vividly every one of my elementary school teachers. My teacher that had the most impact on me was Zerubbabel Isaac Fleming Jr. And ZI was his nickname, and he was my algebra instructor. And he was amazing and taught me a lot of lessons of life. And then Mrs. Riley, who was very, very difficult a teacher. She had incredibly high standards, and hers was all about civics. And so we had to do essays on all of the major court cases that had been settled in the Supreme Court.
Wow.
And so learning all of that as a student in high school really kind of shaped my thinking as an adult later on down the road. So, when you think about that, there have been I've been very blessed to have a lot of mentors in my life that come alongside. I think we all have somebody that helps to guide us and direct us through our lives.
Absolutely.
And they keep them on azimuth, keep us helping point in the right direction. And so I'm very proud of those that had come alongside me in the military that helped to guide me and direct me. A lot of non-commissioned officers that were the backbone of the United States Army there. They know how things are. And then a lot of leaders, a lot of senior leaders. I love, when I was in Army Special Operations, the commander of SOCOM, not that I ever worked for him directly, but his influence touched me. And it was Admiral McCraven, Bill McCraven. And so he's got a lot of great books. When he retired as a 4-star admiral, he became the chancellor for the University of Texas. And he's had an incredible address to the graduating class at University of Texas. It was "Make Your Bed," and his whole.
I think I've
it's
seen
an amazing.
part of that.
Yeah, it's an amazing. YouTube it. Have your friend.
I think I've seen part of that.
That every young person needs to hear that address or read the book "Make Your Bed."
Yeah.
He also wrote a book. It's "The Wisdom of the Bullfrog," and. So what is that all about? Well, he's as a bullfrog. He was the senior Navy SEAL, you get the moniker of being the bullfrog when you are the most senior Navy SEAL in the United States Navy, and that was him. And so this is his wisdom, and it's a lot of leadership lessons.
I love stuff like that,
and it's just a phenomenal read. Crisis. Let's see what's the other one? It's crisis communications, and anyway, he helps you through a lot of challenges in life, and he just relates. He's just so personal.
The Wisdom of the Bullfrog. I'm going to look that up. I love stuff like that.
Highly recommend that to all.
Is that your favorite reading?
I love it.
Inspirational leadership stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. And
I do too. Yeah.
And because we all struggle with the same issues. It's how do we navigate that? And how are we inspired to continue to press on through whatever the challenges are that we all face?
What do you think was your biggest life challenge that you faced?
You would think it would be a deployment because you're out in the middle of nowhere, and some things that are happening in a space that's kind of volatile. But just really, the hurricane was a big emotional scar on this community, and certainly a physical scar.
And nothing was where it was supposed to be. I mean, it was a challenge of logistics and everything. Even where do we put these umpteen million trees that are tore down? It's a challenge.
Yeah, I think from a lot of challenges in life, balancing military obligations and requirements with family.
Military's tough on family.
They are, and I would tell you that families are the bill payers for America's freedom. They carry the heaviest rucksack. They're the ones that are sacrificing everything for their loved one to serve this nation. And I am who I am in great measure because of my wife and my 2 amazing children that supported me through all of these journeys that I was on.
It's tough on a family. Divorce rates are high in the military. I mean, it's hard. I mean, when you were looking at the families going for Desert Storm or Desert Shield, either one of them, and Afghanistan, you saw families breaking down because it's hard for the one of the main people there, the mom and dad. That's the key pieces of the home, and if one of them's missing, it takes its toll on the family. And I really feel like that's where a lot of people don't realize how much it costs, to sign up, raise your hand, and serve our country. It's a big price.
It is. It is a big price. A lot of sacrifice. And it's difficult, from my wife who continued to raise our kids, and with a father that was an absentia. That was difficult. But it also speaks to the challenges that a lot of single moms are going through. And as a community, we need to draw near them, and we need to help them and come alongside them because they're they have no other option. It's them and their kids, and and they lean hard on churches and civic organizations and those types of things. But let's love on them and help them up.
Church community is important, and I think people don't realize that it keeps people connected. Back years ago when I started in the ministry, we used to have Saturday night service, Wednesday night service, Sunday night service, and a lot of churches have gone down to just Sunday morning is it. Yeah. And I know that things change and all. It used to be everything was closed on Sunday, and church was the only social outlet you had was to go to church. Right. And that's no longer the case, but it's still important to look your neighbor in the eye, pray for them, shake their hand. You need that. And that's what was so difficult during COVID when everyone was staying home. I talked to a lot of people that, we just don't want to do. They were only listening to the news and staying at their house. And I said, look, we need church. We need to be together. There's a reason why it says, forsake not the assembling of yourselves together. Mm-hmm. You need to see what real people are feeling and doing, and instead of just going by the news. So I'm sure you've got your pulse on what's going on in the world. And a military question here: what's the hot button issue right now? I mean, I know you've got the Russia and Ukraine, all that going on. You got China. We got some stuff dusting up with Venezuela and South America. What's the area that you're most concerned about in the world right now?
Well, I will tell you that for the military, I'm most concerned about readiness. Are we ready? And because we live in what the military calls a VUCA environment, VUCA, which is an acronym that stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous.
VUCA.
I
remember that.
It's kind of it's kind of the descriptor of our world, right?
Yeah.
It's very volatile, uncertain, complex,
and
ambiguous. And so, as a military, if we're going to be the superpower, we've got to have a military that's ready and having the capabilities that are needed for over the horizon conflict. Yeah. We see a lot of changes taking place on the battlefield. It's not the static battlefield of the World War II. It's a much more dynamic battlefield with
drones,
swarming drones, and the other technologies, cyber technologies that are in place. So, it's the large countries. You can kind of see them. It's the nefarious actors that I worry about that are
rogue nations and someone getting a hold of a dangerous weapon
or entities or
that
cartels,
doesn't have any accountability.
Exactly.
I read a book years ago, The Journey of Crazy Horse, of all things, the great Lakota Indian chief. And one place in the book, it says that they had always fought off the settlers, whoever they were, and won. The Indians won because they could shoot an arrow one after another and were great on horseback and all that. And the Journey of Crazy Horse, he talks about the first time he saw infantryman take and shoot a rifle and then cocked it and shot it a second time. And he knew then that they would lose. They would lose because they had lost technology. And when they were loading muskets, they could fire an arrow. They could defeat muskets. They couldn't defeat that repeating rifle. Yeah. And what it came down to is whoever holds technology is the winner. And so then when you look at what's going on in the world with drones and with cyber wars and all this is going on, it's technology that controls the world. And so, forget about how many nuclear weapons or tanks or guns your neighbor has. What do they have that you don't know of? What are they developing that you're not aware of? And that's where you've got to think a little deeper on things like that. And you think of technology. I think of China. I think of China as probably the biggest technology battle that we have, but I don't know. Yeah.
It's that's why we have great leaders that are in significant positions helping to discern that for us and to ensure that we keep our nation safe.
A lot goes on behind the scenes that doesn't make it to the evening news.
You don't want it.
Everybody would be afraid to go to sleep.
That's right.
Yeah, I believe that. I read a book called The Devil's Chessboard, and it's really about the Dulles brothers. It's about the Dulles brothers and the CIA of the 60s and the 50s. And because we're far enough away from it, they tell a lot in that book of what, this is what was said on the news, but this is what was going on. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating and scary at the same time because you ask yourself, if everyone knew how close we were to some of these conflicts and what happens if China invades Taiwan and this and that, that's what we're seeing. You know, we're seeing what happens if China invades Taiwan. There's a whole nother layer of diplomatic stuff going on underneath that they're not even talking about.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And you know, stuff like the price of oil. You know, I saw the other day where one of the big things was President Trump was concerned about these other nations buying oil from Russia that's funding this war. You know, and there's a lot there. There's a lot there. So if I asked you to pin down a book that you're reading right now, what are you reading right now? What's on your table?
I said it was Crisis Communication. It's Conquering Crisis by Admiral McCraven.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's one I'm
the
reading
bullfrog
right now.
guy.
Bullfrog,
Yeah, good.
yeah.
I love
Wisdom
it.
of the Bullfrog.
Tell me about this. What's on Mark McQueen's bucket list? What's some things you want to do that you haven't done?
Travel a little bit for fun, not
fun. Where would you like
work.
to go?
Actually, want to see more of the United States.
Really? You've been
over,
abroad.
Yeah,
You want
I've
to
been
see
abroad.
more?
I want to see more of the U.S.
Yeah.
You know, out west. And
I love out west.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to see that. So.
Before we were stationed in Panama City, we came from Kirtland in Albuquerque.
Yeah, sure.
And my mother's from that area, and I love out west. It's a different feel.
Yeah.
It's a really different feel. It feels like you almost feel like you've gone to another country because when you get out there in New Mexico and Arizona, it's a different landscape, it's a different humidity and all. It's nice.
Yeah.
The only place I haven't been is the Pacific Northwest, Seattle and all that.
I'd like to get up to Alaska. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
You know, we have got a great country and had the privilege of defending it for several decades, and so now I would like to go see a little bit of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
that's one of my bucket lists. The other is spend more time with family.
Yeah.
You know, that's really
You have
again,
grandkids?
do. Yeah,
that's
I'm
great.
Doubly blessed on that.
That's
That's
fantastic.
what fills my joy bucket, and it's a lot of fun.
Does everybody live here?
They do.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Get
we're
to see
blessed.
everybody and
That's right.
enjoy our beautiful area.
Exactly.
Well, I tell you what, you've got a lot on you, and that's a lot of employees. That's a lot to take care of. And
Pure joy. It's a privilege.
everyone I talk to speaks highly of you. They say you're a communicator, someone to work with, and I think that's what most people need. They just need communication.
Well,
Most of them want to work. They want to do a good job. They just need to know what to do.
yeah, I'm blessed to work alongside these amazing, committed individuals. I'm just a small fly in the ointment. They're the real reason that Bay District Schools is doing so well. Is our teachers, our administrators, our support staff that work tirelessly for this community, and they're the unsung heroes of building the capacity of Bay County.
Yeah, well, I appreciate all you're doing.
John,
thank you for talking
so
with
much.
us today.
What a delight. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.